Hello. All right, we're live. We're going to be doing another portfolio review. So we've done a few of these in the past where we kind of just go through aspiring developers' portfolios, potentially their projects, and kind of, I guess, dive into the feedback. We do a lot of UX-focused feedback, but also, what is an employer going to think based on what you're showcasing? And we go over like efficiency and optimization, stuff like that. A lot of junior developers haven't really focused too much on that for the most part. It can definitely make you stand out, but yeah, we're going to be diving in. So let me go ahead and choose the playlist. It's going to match this review perfectly. And then I think I have a list of like 5 portfolios I want to review, but I just want to verify just a few things just to make sure they're good entries. I don't think I had a chance to do that yet. All right, cool. So, but I also want to give people a little bit more time to settle in because I figured out that it takes YouTube like 5 to 10 minutes to push the notification out to people. So this time I'm delaying it. Oh, hey, Code Thing. Didn't even see your message. Let me make this larger. Hello, Don. It was fun to see you at Ludo. I just finished my first course at New Camp and diving into React next week. Hope I can learn from today's stream and maybe get a review in the future. We could definitely do a review in the future for you. Glad you liked it. That was a fun conversation. Yeah, I think we, if you guys don't know, I hopped on New Camp's live stream last Friday. He brought on 3 graduates that were kind of just struggling, just still in the job search. And it was interesting trying to cram how I could help in like within an hour, because usually like with my one-on-ones it's just 45 minutes, so I have a lot more time. But I think we dove into some pretty helpful stuff that I think will apply to a lot of aspiring developers. That was a fun conversation. I want to do more stuff like that, but not a lot of channels do that. I kind of just want to hop on and help people, and not a lot of channels do that, unfortunately. They're pushing out content for their own reasons. All right, let me go ahead and load up this playlist and we'll get started. I think Synthwave. I'm feeling Synthwave, but there was a old playlist that we man, it's not popping up. That's okay. We can go back to this one. I gotta find it because I did one playlist before and it was a really good playlist. It was brand new. Nothing got I got no copyright notices from YouTube, so it was actually royalty free. It's a good one. We'll have to find it again. Hope you're doing well. Just received my M1 MacBook Air 20 minutes ago. I'm doing my prep work for App Academy. I'm so excited. Wish you luck. Good luck, King. Good luck. All right. All right, I think here. I'm gonna switch a couple things up. So which portfolio should we dive into first? I think this one. Yeah, I think I want to do this one. Get a couple things set up. I like this cipher check on for viruses. Cool, that's good to go. And then let me pull up, there we go. All right. Cool. I think we are pretty good. Let me, I just like to kind of browse it potentially and look for different stuff of what I want to focus on. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think we have our first one ready. I watched the last video on App Academy review. It kind of scared me, not gonna lie. It should. Okay, it should. I think I I don't think I can recommend App Academy for anyone anymore. And I've even had a couple staff, well, ex-staff members, or they claim to be ex-staff members, that reached back out to me that said they wanted to talk. And then I even saw one just like, I can see, I don't know, he just handled the comments section poorly. Then he deleted all of his comments. I'm like, this is just weird. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just getting a lot of bad vibes from App Academy. It doesn't mean it won't work for you, but you should be skeptical and you should make sure you are very, very well prepared. You're not going to need your handheld. Sounds like it's a little bit more self-taught than a lot of people think. All right. All right, we are good. I gotta press the button. Make sure. All right, so yeah, it's been about 10 minutes. That should have been enough time for people to hop on in. I just want to give it at least 10 minutes. My name is Azat. All right. Let's go ahead and do a hard refresh. I value your input. Thank you, man. You're welcome. Glad I could be helpful. Anytime you start a coding bootcamp, no matter what it is, it's always exciting. It's been a while, but I do still remember when I got accepted. All right, cool. Seattle-based web developer with experience in React.js. What did it say first? Okay, so React next. Modern web design. Okay. Gotcha. There's a little bit of a jump. That's fine. Portfolio, you'll find projects that I've recently worked on, ranging from guided meditation websites to a professional online presence. Lawn irrigation company. With every client, I focus on being open, communicative, and creating a great modern professional product. I mean, this doesn't feel necessary. It just feels like a waste of space. Professional online presence. I mean, so building this for an actual company, yeah, that's probably something to highlight. I wonder if they can figure that out in your... Oh, what the hell is this? Okay. Images are taking way too long to load. Current... Can I go back? Hello? Okay, never, ever forced a user to go to your next project. I didn't even get a chance to read your first one. No, that is a horrible feature. Get rid of that. Let's refresh. Okay, so... Tri-Cities Lawn irrigation is rapid. Things are way too bunched here. There's no reason. Bumped us down a little bit. It's a rapid growing landscape irrigation company. Set up on a cloud hosted. Okay, so check it out. So this goes direct. So there's no GitHub link. You absolutely want a source control link to your code. If you can get, I mean, that's the thing. If it's client work, maybe you can't get it. But then we go to this and you don't. Enhanced CEO is a new service I have launched, helping professionals and students in maximizing their cognitive abilities. Okay, but you could at least show the source code for this, right? Yeah, you need to start providing links to source control so people can check out your code. So employers can check out your code. Okay, does this at least go to... Okay, you open it up in a new tab. Good. I mean, this is a start. You mentioned the technology. Okay, so I can drag it, but this is not... Don't expect someone to understand that they can drag it. There's no indicators that you can drag it like this whatsoever. Yeah, don't have it auto go to the next project either. NA? Wait. Why? And this just looks unfinished. What do you mean NA? Currently inactive? So why do you have a link to it? It just goes to your... What? Get rid of this. There's no reason to have this. It feels like you kind of just created a reusable component and you got very lazy with the functionality, and maybe you just like tossed a link to point to your portfolio if it had an inactive link. NA means nothing to me. I click it, it goes right to the, like, get rid of this button for when you don't need it. It's fine to show an image, and you can have some screenshots of it as well. It'd be preferable if you can show the actual project, the link to it. But I'm not sure why you can't. A little bit more spacing. Definitely a little bit more spacing here and here. You can make it consistent with this. Coming soon? Well, at least, do you have code? You can link to the source control. Yeah, these images are taking way too long to load. Project. These look like interesting projects that I think some employers will kind of latch onto and care about, but the way you're presenting them just makes this portfolio feel unfinished. Okay, so live link to the project, live link to the source control. Little description. That's the bare minimum that you should have. If you go, like, if you could for, where is it? This should cycle through to the next project. There shouldn't be a blank thing here. It should cycle through to your first project. See, it doesn't really work well on desktop, the scroll thing. Or this, I don't even know what you would call it. Just click, hold, and try to drag it across. Can I shoot it? So I have to do it pretty fast. Okay, so if you could even have like a little bit of a case study of, you know, what you guys were trying to solve and how you were optimizing the page. So wait, is this a new website? Okay, so wanted to establish. Oh, that's a bug. What just happened? I just clicked. I tried to highlight. Oh, hello? Okay, that's a bug. I feel like this portfolio section is littered with bugs. You have some work to do there. But the projects themselves, they look kind of interesting. I like that you included the screenshot, but man, I'm telling you, little bugs like that and just the usability of it can really bring down the value and create a lot of frustration. Testimonials. TrueCar. What are these testimonials, CEO? Complete the job faster than expected. I'm hiring him again. Very easy to work with. Okay, engineer at TrueCar. Is this this kind of makes me feel like you're mixing like a freelance testimonial with like TrueCar. What about any of these projects speak to TrueCar? Because I know you're a new developer trying to get your first position. Did I just miss it? No. Financial, Shopify, Mind Purity. What project did you work on? It just kind of feels like you included a testimony of like a previous non-developer job, which is pretty dishonest if you did that. Because you're mixing like freelance project feedback with what could be interpreted as more freelance project feedback. But if this wasn't a freelance project and I see no projects to match this, I would almost suspect that you're lying to me. And I would expect that a hiring manager or HR might pick that up as well. They might not. Some people just zoom through these portfolios, but it does definitely feel dishonest. About me. 4 years of professional experience. What? Did I misread it? Oh, you know what? Oh, okay. You've been doing freelancing for the last 4 years. So this might be just fine if it was a freelance project. I would be interested. So what would be really cool, here's what you should do, is link these testimonials to the projects you worked on, right? You could even put a face next to it, like the client. If you're going to include them as testimonials, you might as well put the client face here, right? If you got permission to do that. You could definitely, yeah, these pictures, it's going to be a little bit jarring with these pictures not aligning. That should be, let's see. Yeah, 4 years of professional experience. I guess freelancing isn't really professional experience. You're trying to get a full-time position, right? I don't know. If you're not, I would say in the freelance world, that probably is professional experience. Just picking up like random client projects for brand new businesses, stuff like that. I don't know. There's probably a case to be made that it's professional experience, but if it's just that can also be misleading. If you're saying like 4 years professional experience, you don't highlight that it's freelance experience, and an employer is thinking, oh, okay, you worked at a company full-time as a software engineer for 4 years. That's awesome. You know, we're going to start looking at like mid-level positions for you. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, freelance experience. Oh, you've only done like 5 projects in 4 years. Yo, Morgan, welcome. I think, I'm not really sure this portfolio accurately represents you. I think you got to be careful about stuff like that. And you could even have like, that's the thing. Sometimes people like get tossed into a mid-level interview when they list stuff like this, where it seems like you're more of an entry-level developer. I mean, you are. These projects you only have like 5 projects. I mean, a lot of like people that have just been self-taught and learning coding can, you know, establish 5 projects within 6 to 9 months. I think the number of projects that you've worked on, because they don't really look. I don't know. I would have to dive more into the code. I'm just wondering if you are. Sometimes you might get that hiring manager that's like, oh, you're too experienced for the position we're hiring for, but you're applying to an entry-level position. That's where it also feels like it doesn't match up. That's for my internship. I should link to the repo. It was a Git repo analysis in Python. Gotcha. Link those. That would actually be really good. Okay, so you do have fresh projects. Okay, good to know. But it says enhanced CEO for the title here. That was one of your projects, right? Why does it say enhanced CEO? Can we refresh it? Oh, wait, because literally, no, that's actually your website, your portfolio website, enhanced CEO. Why is this the title? This is your portfolio. Isn't enhanced CEO? Yeah, it's a completely different website. Why do you have this bar here? This makes no sense. Get rid of it. There's no reason to have this. This is not part of the website, right? Like, you obviously didn't include this. This is a native Mac bar. Why do you have this here? You don't need to showcase that you're on Mac. It's just blocking the entire picture. It's irrelevant to what you're trying to portray. Let's talk. Currently, email. Mail to at, okay, you spelled it out. That's, sure, that's fine. Alternatively, I am also available on, yeah, because some people don't even prefer a mail to, and you gave them, I mean, they could just, you know, right click and copy email address. So I'd be curious why you included this as well. Also available on LinkedIn. This should be a new tab. I like that you're doing everything in new tabs. Cool. Yeah, I think including the projects, mapping these testimonials to the freelance projects, that's fine. But again, I don't think this accurately represents you. And I think what you're going to, again, I really want to emphasize this because other people do this as well. They're like, oh my God, like I said I was an entry-level developer. It's like, no, you didn't. You put 4 years of professional experience. So, you know, that's more like getting closer to the senior level. And you get this impossible interview and you completely bomb it. It's like, well, because you misrepresented yourself, right? And so what I would specifically do, 4 years of professional freelance experience. There's nothing wrong with using the word professional, but I would highlight that it's freelance because that's very, very different experience than, you know, working actually as a full-time developer at a company on a product or even for an agency. But working at a company is very different. So I feel like you're going to get some mismatched expectations between both of you. It's pretty, overall, it's pretty clean, good contrast. Yeah, I think including those projects and mapping them to the testimonials will be huge. Let's check out mobile. Hopefully you got here did you get here before we even started so I could point out some of the bugs? You'd add more. My projects, it seems like I have like 5 or 6 more I could add at least. Someone told me to keep it minimal before, and that's not the way to go. It depends on how you represent yourself. But I would question why. I think it's okay to showcase a huge gallery of projects, but maybe even that means, you know, if I have to scroll through, I don't know, a dozen projects, it's not a big deal. But if I have to scroll through like 50, that's, I don't know, it's kind of annoying. I would build a filter for something like that. Or like even over a dozen, I might build a filter and you could filter by language. Well, I mean, if you're applying to a company, filtering by languages for the hiring manager would be very helpful, filtering by the stack even. But if it's freelance, they don't care about that. I would actually rather see like a case study or something like that. It's like you worked with your client to build this out. Sometimes you're just handed a design and told to build. But if you had any conversation with a client of like kind of deciding some of the final features and, you know, how that would play out in your implementation, that could be really valuable. A case study that showcases the problem that you guys were trying to solve and how you got to the solution you did. That's super valuable. And you see a lot of people with their personal projects, they don't get that experience. They don't go through that I guess they don't go through that process because they don't necessarily need to. They should, but they haven't really talked through that with anyone. They're kind of just, I think a lot of people tackle personal projects without a plan of action and not really understanding the problem they're solving. So that's another issue. But like with freelance projects specifically, you have additional details that you could talk about that employers will care about. You having any sort of business type conversation of translating a problem into a technical solution is huge. And you being able to document your process like that is huge. And you can get that from freelancing, but you're almost kind of shooting yourself in the foot not talking about it. Now, maybe, I don't know if you signed any contracts, NDAs, but if you can talk about it, which I'm assuming, you know, most people, like you just built their project, they kind of, you know, if they appreciated your work, they're like, yeah, talk about it. Like, this is, we really appreciate what you built. We want to see you, you know, move forward, progress as a software engineer. So, but you could even talk about, okay, well, I implemented this new website and it increased their sales by 40%, right? Bringing a new online presence that increased their sales by 40% is huge in the last 3 months or whatever. Yeah, I'll pause there. Let me catch up on chat. What do you guys think though? I think overall contrast is pretty good. A couple spacing issues, but they're pretty minor. A couple alignment issues that I would adjust. I mean, it's a really simple portfolio, and I think these projects and testimonials will probably provide a lot of value for you. And then we'll check out mobile, but let me catch up with chat. I always have HTML smooth scrolling. CSS feels less janky. HTML smooth scrolling CSS. You mean like when we click here so it doesn't like jump? I think that's what you're talking about. If so, I would agree. Hey, Homo sapiens, how you doing? Hey, Cheddar, welcome back. The thing, I'll change it, I'll change it to a grid format over the slideshow and go over more depth, like you said. I have some I can't, but a good amount that I can. So it doesn't even have to be a grid. I would even argue like maybe you have 2 links here, or maybe you have 3 links. One to the live project, one to the source control, or one to the, one live projects, one to the source control, and one to the case study. Or you just have a link to the project itself, and then it kind of mentions the case study and how you solved that problem. And it has the live link and the source control link. Because like the source control link is irrelevant for freelancing, in my opinion. I don't think there's, in 99% of cases, you're probably not going to link to the code for your old projects. They're not examining the code. They're examining what the problem was and how you solved it, how you helped the client solve it. So, but yeah, if this is for an employer, you're kind of translating your freelance portfolio into something that's going to speak more towards hiring managers for full-time developer positions. So you're starting to create a little bit of a hybrid, but you can do that through creating like a case study that can give all the information to to freelance developers. And I a lot of well, I wouldn't say a lot. I've heard of some employers really being interested in diving into that. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I would count it as professional experience, but I would want to know how much work he had done in those 4 years. Yeah, that's I think, yeah, going back to the portfolio projects, only showcasing 5. It could be professional experience. So, Jeremy, I'm curious of your opinion with this. I've heard quite a bit of stories of like putting like, so they did some freelancing, maybe like 5 projects. And I mean, most people in 5 years or 4 years will do more than 5 projects, but even doing like a dozen, I don't know, freelance projects, I've seen like when you don't highlight that it is freelance professional experience, I've seen a lot of employers get confused with that, right? And they have to dig into that. And I think anything that you could do to showcase, I guess, a little bit more transparency and be more accurate. So like, okay, let me ask you this. Would 5 or 4 years of professional developer experience, let's say you worked at, a couple different companies, 2 years each, and you worked on a couple different products, or maybe one was product work, one was agency work. Would you test someone a little bit differently than if they did like 5 to 7 projects within the last 4 years? Would you interpret the 4 years of professional experience, working full time as a developer? Would you interpret that differently and test them and challenge them a bit more, maybe even for a mid to senior level position, versus like, I guess what you said, how many projects did they actually work on in the 4 years? How spread out was it, right? How could you determine like how hard you should really challenge them in the interview if you just see like a blanketed 4 years of professional experience? Like if you see freelance experience, then you have to ask the question, okay, well, how many projects did you actually have to work on? I don't think it's more about like listing it as professional experience, because I emphasize that it's not about professional experience. It's about what kind of professional experience. How do we test you in the interview? How do we test you based on the experience that you have? I think that's where it gets misleading. It's not the word professional. Will you review every portfolio sent to you? I review most of them. Yeah, Breen. So I will include a link in the comments below, and I'll pin the comment. And then afterwards, you can submit your portfolio. And I kind of just go through the list. I prioritize. I don't know. I don't want to say what I prioritize, but I review most of them. And sometimes I'll review that they submitted like, I don't know, maybe this is a bad practice, but I will review it like 3 months later. I'm like, okay, now's a good time to review it. But is that review actually valuable for that person 3 months? Nah, I don't know. A lot of people say it is, but how consistent were they working in this? How much practice did they get? Yeah, exactly. So Jeremy, that's exactly my point. And so now you have, if you can establish that it's 4 years of freelance experience, then you already know the right questions to ask before you deliver those challenges. How did they begin their own project manager give them experience they wouldn't get as a junior developer? Wait, how did being their own project manager give them experience they wouldn't get as a junior Right, but you need to establish that it was 4 years of freelance experience, Jeremy. So those are questions you can ask once you can establish that. So why not establish that early? Again, it's not about the professional experience. It's about delivering like exactly what that professional experience was, whether it's freelancing or full-time at an employer. And then you're able to ask those types of questions to narrow it down. But you can't even ask those questions if you don't really understand it's 4 years of freelance experience. That's just more questions to ask and try to dig out of the applicant. So if you can deliver that and be transparent and upfront about that, it's still really good experience, but then you can guide that interview and like give the employer a better picture. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could put your case study in your README. You can. Some people do. But I wouldn't expect someone to go to the GitHub profile to look through that case study. That case study probably should be on the front page, especially like that case study can be really, really valuable for freelance developers because again, a lot of clients want you to help them solve their problem and they kind of have an idea of how they want to solve it. But like a really good freelance developer has, usually helped guide clients through some of that process, and you get more experience with it as more problems are introduced to you. And so I think the freelance developer is usually an important piece of kind of like helping them solidify that solution and create a technical solution that maps to that. And so for clients, they're probably not going to go to the source control. They're not going to think to go to the source control because that's irrelevant to them. They don't really care about the code for the most part. And then open up the README for that case study. You will get a software engineer. You will get a technical hiring manager that might do something like that. But I would put that case study at the front of your website on your portfolio. Let people examine it on your portfolio. So I think what's going to happen is a lot of people aren't going to see that case study. And that's super valuable information that you want to put at the front of it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it could be okay. It could kind of be a backup. I feel like you're just shooting yourself in the foot with that. I agree. Pointing out that it's freelancing is not degrading. It'll just make assessment. And that's what it is. Like yeah, you said it very well. Like freelance, I have to say, like, freelance experience is a type of professional experience. It's way more valuable in most cases. Like when you go into depth like this and you're working with clients for 4 years and these projects look like pretty full-fledged projects that are solving real problems for businesses. If you can showcase that, that's huge. That's way more valuable than just personal projects. It's usually like the freelance projects where you built like a minor like script, you built like a Discord bot or something like that. And people will pay you to do that. Not a whole lot of money, but people will pay you to do that. And putting those kind of projects, now those projects are kind of lower value. There's not a lot of complexity to them. So yeah, these projects definitely good projects to showcase, but yeah, it's really about just, that transparency. I think people avoid it because I think you made a good point. I think people avoid it because they think that professional freelance experience is like less, like it's not that valuable. And maybe that's where people's perceptions kind of get thrown off. And I think people shy away from highlighting that. That's actually a really good point. I worked at 2 companies, 2 summer, but the vast majority is freelance, so I will note that. Worked at 2 companies doing what? Wait, you worked at 2 companies as a developer? It says, yeah, you kind of just mentioned you were doing freelance on the side. You never mentioned that you were a professional developer at all. What are those positions? I feel like even the way that you're presenting yourself is kind of very misleading. Why do I have to dig this much information out of you? I would take note of that. I don't think you're presenting yourself accurately. I don't even really know what you're doing or what your experience is. So you can have your portfolio showcase a little bit more accurately, like what your last 4 years has been like. Some people even include like a little bit of a timeline. Combining professional experience and freelance experience can, like even just showing that timeline can be very helpful in breaking that up. But I think you're going to get questions in the interview. I definitely think you're going to get questions in the interview a lot. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, I feel like I said everything I need to say. I think the big thing is it's just like I really don't know what your experience is at this point. That'll be confusing. You even get like, I hate when I don't know if anyone has ever gotten like emails and rejection letters of like, you're too qualified for this position, right? And then what do you think that means? That's like a fairly common thing to get. And I think it can mean a lot of different things. And I think sometimes employers will just toss out like very generic messages. Because I talked about it. It's like, quite frankly, employers should not be 100% transparent with you in the reason why you weren't hired. There will always be toxic people that will spin that into a story to get the employer sued. And if we continue letting people kind of just like get incredibly emotional over getting rejected, it's like, well, you expect a bunch of generic rejection letters. It's like, we need to start calling out a lot of aspiring developers that kind of just treat employers like shit. It's like, I'm sorry you didn't get it. But like some people like literally go through rants, like LinkedIn posts, huge rants about how they got rejected and the employer treated them unfairly, and like how the employer, they got hired, or someone else got hired over them, even though they had more experience. And like, they literally have no information about the employer whatsoever. They made tons of assumptions, like so many assumptions. And then like they're writing stuff on Glassdoor with the interview process. And it's like, dude, sometimes aspiring developers need to chill the fuck out. Like, you are literally forcing employers to kind of just like shut up. They don't want to get sued. They're tired of like all these bad reviews. Sometimes the interview doesn't work out well. And so, man, I feel bad for people that get like generic rejection letters, or even like people that don't get any sort of rejection letter whatsoever. But I'm starting to see more aspiring developers that just like freak out on social media. And I think we got to chill out with that. And I think having like, when you can showcase, so that's another thing. And I know we're going off topic, but I think this is important. When you go into an interview, you can ask for feedback. You can ask for feedback in a way where it doesn't like really make the employer defensive. Like, is he going to use this against me in a Glassdoor interview? Is he going to sue me? Like, you can ask in a very humble and honest way, like, hey, I'm just, really having a tough time. Any feedback that you have, I'm completely open to it. I just want to keep growing as a software engineer for the next 5 years. Like, this is a really cool profession. Do you have any feedback for me? Like, and the way you word stuff like that, because I've even listened to the way people will word stuff in the interviews and the way they ask for feedback, and it's very like defensive. It's like, why didn't you hire me? Don't ask for feedback in that way. Like, and especially like when you do it in like a text email. So sometimes I don't know, sometimes it can help, sometimes it can hurt, but like, if you just have to feel the room in the conversation. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, you saw my project, you saw my code, you saw my implementation with the challenge you just did. What feedback do you have? Maybe they didn't even give you that much feedback. And I think like, depending on the situation and reading the room, you can ask for that kind of question. But I think, yeah, as a aspiring developer, we got to be careful about like putting employers on the defensive, because then they're just going to bottle up like everything they have to say, and you're never going to get any feedback. That's like this is a way off tangent, but I just noticed this, and I think aspiring developers need to be a little bit more self-analytical in the way they come off when they do interact with employers. I don't even know how we got on this rant, but I think a lot of aspiring developers need to hear that. I'm also fresh out of high school, so right now building up a couple ones I feel like really beefed up. Messaging app. Yeah, I don't know, Enhanced CEO. Your name is Enhanced CEO. What? That's misleading as well. What? Cities. So you have a new project called Enhanced CEO. Why don't you just put your name for the portfolio? That's why that's why you put Enhanced CEO. I don't know if that's like a marketing strategy, but it's kind of confusing. Like, for your personal portfolio, why isn't it is that? And then maybe your last name. Excuse me. Yeah, but I still, like, even when I asked you that question, you haven't really even explained like what you held. A couple different positions. Were they professional developer positions? Was it just an internship? I think being a little bit more transparent with that information will be very helpful for you in the future. Being a freelancer can be of strength. Calling it out as your experience can help you get hired, so leverage it. Yep. A resume would clarify this quite a lot, I think. Yeah, it would. Dates, details. I think it would be very clarifying. You're dead, bro. All right. Good. JT, glad you enjoyed my rant. JT, welcome. I missed your message, by the way. I love giving feedback after interviews. Almost no one ever asks, though. You know, there's probably a perception, Jeremy, of like, is this hiring manager going to think that I'm not capable of doing the job if I don't show confidence? And that, like, that's their perception, and that's not like what confidence means. But I think a lot of people are saying like they just want to show this perception of like, I nailed the interview, and asking for that feedback is weak, right? It's weak because you should know all the answers, and you did a really good job at the interview. So do you really need feedback? I don't know. Like I'm kind of just giving, I wouldn't even say it's an extreme example, but I think a lot of people have that perception. Like they just feel like it's not going to come off as confident, and they want to come off as confident. And I think you can be very confident and say, hey, you know, what do you think? Like an opportunity to get feedback from another software engineer and taking that opportunity can show humbleness, but it's also like confidence in like confidence that you don't know everything, confidence that you're just going to grow. It's like, yeah, you might not have like really nailed this challenge, but like now I learned it, right? Next time I get introduced with this challenge, I'm going to do really well with it. Like confidence, I think more aspiring developers need to have confidence in that, you know, even though they fail a challenge, it's like a week later, 2 weeks later, they learn it, and they're a stronger developer for that. But I think a lot of people have this misconception of asking for feedback in the interview looks weak. It shows a lack of confidence, maybe even a lack of capability, skill level. I think that's a huge misconception a lot of aspiring developers have. I'm sure you would give really, really effective and kind feedback. I get that feeling from you, Jeremy. Oh, the website title was a complete accident. Okay. So yeah, I want to emphasize, we'll look at the mobile version, but Enhanced CEO, I'm being very critical right now, but I'm critical of I'm starting to be more critical of all my portfolio reviews, and I'm consistent. At this point, I'm pretty consistent about it. So just because I'm like, this is actually, the fact that you got me to go off on like rants and tangents is a really, really good sign. I don't know. It's a good sign that you create really interesting conversations based on your previous experience. You should give yourself a pat on the back with that. All right, let's check out mobile. I can believe that, but a great mentor of mine once told me that software engineering is a team sport, so discussing approaches demonstrates an ability to be a team player. Yeah, I love it. It's really good advice. I wish more people would hear your advice, Jeremy. Jeremy, I never see you write that kind of advice on LinkedIn. Have you thought about creating a few LinkedIn posts? Good in-depth advice. Well, thank you. Glad my rants could be helpful. Advice is gold, man. I appreciate all of it. Huge amount of value. Okay, awesome. So there are very few people, but some people will take my critical feedback very personally. Sometimes I just want to emphasize that once in a while. All right, empty cache and reload. It's a very big button. I feel like I'm gonna. Ooh, how relevant is this LinkedIn button? Should this be here? I kind of get you putting all these links on one navigation, but man, I'm gonna fat finger this at some point. These are kind of jumbled. I wonder if you can create a little bit more space and get rid of this, but I don't know if this is a really important call to action for you. So you have to decide that. You work, yeah, ooh, yeah, then the navigation kind of covers the name of it. Maybe you don't want to jump down that far. And CEO, check it out. Testimonials. Overall, again, same thing. Good contrast. Overall, pretty good spacing. I would say better spacing on mobile. I don't know why there's so much spacing down here, but could probably reduce that a bit. But you have more spacing between the project as well. It's not like almost glued to the button. Let's go ahead and look at, let's bring this over. Oh, broken image pulls. I don't know what those are, but no idea what that is. What is this image? Wow. Okay, you got that down to 53. That's pretty good. Let's go JS. Images don't seem to be a concern. Framework, main, middleware. A lot of packages, but it's not horrible. On mobile, this might be a little bit large, but I don't know. No red flags come up with the size of your files. I would figure out where some of these GET requests are getting broken. What are you even looking up here? Okay, I'll let you figure that out. But yeah, optimization, it's pretty good. Finish load under 3 seconds, that's pretty good. I feel like there was a point when I initially loaded the website, it took a little bit longer to load. Sometimes that'll happen once in a while. It could just be my connection, but yeah, load times are pretty good. Yeah, overall, good job. Thanks for submitting it. This is a fun one, definitely. I've thought about it, but I never seem to have the time these days. Yeah, I can imagine. I can definitely imagine. All right, next one. It's always hard. It's definitely always hard figuring out. Let's see. We'll go to. Hold on. Why do I even try to multitask? Fire scan. It's always hard trying to split your portfolio up and attracting both freelance clients and employers. They're similar, but they're very different, and your portfolio can look different. It's hard juggling that for sure. It looks like your resume, you have a resume link to this. It's a broken link. You might want to fix that. Oh, well, I'm going to timestamp it, so I'll say it in a second. Hold on. I just do a couple checks beforehand. Okay. Looks like another one-page website. All right, let's dive into it. Here we go. Okay, so I'm probably going to timestamp it here. But this resume, I'm not even going to click on it wherever it is. Wow, that's a lot of text. Yeah, I'm not going to click on the resume, but it does look like it's returning a 404. So you might want to fix that link. Oh, I lost my chat for a second. All right, Steven Randall. So this guy's brand new. And he is looking for his first position. Huge amount of value. No, I already read that. Okay, let's move forward. So, Steven Randall, Hello World. Okay. I don't know. You ever just like hear Hello World just so often? You just hear something so often. You read it again for like the 100th time and you're just like, is it relevant? Do you really need that on your resume? I don't know. Like if it perfectly resembles your personality to say something like that. And sometimes like being a developer and being a little bit, saying like, don't take offense to this, but saying like nerdy things and geeky things. And I'm not just speaking of Hello World. Like sometimes I can resonate with other software engineers, with hiring managers. And it's kind of just, you know, something a lot of software engineers are just like, hell yeah. And like, I don't know. Sometimes you just have those phrases that people can relate to, especially if it's like super nerdy and you share that and you're willing to be vulnerable like that, and showcase your, like if that's part of your personality, showcase it. But you need to question, does this need to be on my portfolio? Does it really showcase my personality, or am I just trying to be unique? Right? If it's the former, if it showcases your personality, fine, include it, because that's actually really good. It can make you stand out. If you're just trying to sound clever or be unique and not necessarily yourself, you probably shouldn't include it. I'd personally drop the globe image. I'm fine with the hello world phase. Yeah, I wonder what this means. I wonder why. Is it just because you have the word world here? I don't know. I'm analyzing this one phrase way too much. I'm a software engineer or software developer with a keen eye for detail. I aim to create solutions to the world's problems, one problem at a time. Okay, that's interesting. And it might even, this might even appeal to people that do like a lot of, I don't want to just say like social work, but just solve a lot of like real problems that exist in the world. And it might be more focused on like society in general. That could be really good. Depends if that's what you're going for. General Assembly. Okay. You open it up in a new tab, free code camp, download resume. I think it's a 404, but I'm not going to click it because a lot of people forget to they forget I'm a YouTuber and they forget to exclude, their information, their address, their phone numbers, stuff like that. I'm still a small YouTuber, but I still have a few trolls. You got to keep that in mind. Projects, text to speech reader. So these are, I don't know. This is fine. It's not like some people will take up like an entire above the fold page to describe this, and you kind of kept it pretty boxed in. It's pretty short, so doesn't really showcase. This is kind of interesting, but it doesn't really showcase who you are, what you really love about coding. This might though. Text to speech reader. Technologies used. Okay, so the basics, but I can't. Okay, so this deploys. Click here to see deployed application. Love the use of this little pop-up. You click it, opens a new tab. Great. You need source control. You need a link to the source control for that. Again, for all these applications, a link to your source control so people can analyze your code. React Weather, pretty typical generic application, but it can be a really good React application to get comfortable with React and connecting to an API with React. And then what do we do with this data and how do we manage it? How do we store it? React salary converter. You have React in here. Just get rid of the word React. That's irrelevant. You almost like, I don't know. So when I read this, create solutions to the world's problems one program at a time, I almost see a developer that's a problem solver, right? But now your applications don't really speak to solving any real problems. They're just, when I see React, I'm like, oh, this is just some generic React application that he built so he could practice React. It's not really solving any problems, right? And so I would argue it's like, just exclude React. It's a weather application. It's a salary converter. These are real solutions, real apps that people can use. Now, Pokedex project, this is obviously a fun project. Anytime I see a Pokemon project, though, I love digging into it. And I think Pokemon, like a Pokedex, is a really cool CRUD app that you can build. I think it's a really cool CRUD app that you can build. So mission, yeah, again, now it's like aimed to create solutions to the world's problems. It almost feels like a little bit focused on activism. That's the feeling I get from you when I read this line specifically, and then see like mission, right? A lot of companies will have a mission, but if a lot of your projects, your solutions have the mission of solving world's problems, now it's this website allows user, this isn't a mission, right? You're using the wrong text to describe it. I would honestly just put description. These are projects you were just building most likely to practice your skills, which is completely fine. But I think I don't think mission accurately describes this for a specific. Yeah. Creates a pre and post payment model determined by taxes. Okay, it's not really a mission. Those view count and like view count compares the data points between multiple YouTube videos. Ooh, nice. That'd be something I would click into. Don't center this, left align this on desktop. I don't know. These skills are, I can see your skills here. If you want, you can have like a line of skills. I think this takes up too much real estate on the page. This is just something that can be fun to build, and it can, I guess it could showcase a keen eye for detail. Maybe You like creating design set things that look good, but I don't know. I think these cards are close to irrelevant. You can showcase your skills without taking up this much space. I think your projects should really speak to that. You could even, like if you're going to do something like this, if you're going to showcase your skills and even do percentages, I don't know. I would love to see a creative way that someone comes up with to add a filter to their projects and showcasing, you know, it'd be really cool. And this might not be something you should do. Maybe a lot of aspiring developers shouldn't focus on something like this, but to be able to read the amount of text, and you would have to ignore bundles and stuff like that, but to read the lines of code in CSS, in JavaScript, etc., or in Python, and go through your repositories and read that and count those lines, that's kind of impressive. And to convert that into these kind of percentages, that's pretty impressive. And like you could even set something up where it could like I don't know, with the filter, I don't even know how this would look or if this is realistic, but you know, if you are linking to, I don't know, if you have a filter that showcases like the percentage of like code you've written in JavaScript and Python, etc., I feel like that's more provable. That's a little bit more relevant, because I think when a lot of people see this, you're just estimating your percentage. That percentage is meaningless, right? So maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you did hook this up to your repositories that you're showcasing here. I don't think you did, or I would probably at least see source control links, but I don't know. These percentages are just like, they're meaningless. They're just a waste of space. They're not totally meaningless. It's just like, how accurate are your percentages? Anyways, I'm saying I think it'd be pretty cool to build a little feature out that will actually calculate this for you and make those percentages pretty damn accurate. And you don't really have to say this is my skill level, but this is just how much I've worked with this technology. I think that's more useful than you self-identifying like exact precise percentages of how good you think you are at a language. And I would argue as an entry-level developer, you're not 85%. You're much lower, which again just speaks to why these like self-acclaimed skill level percentages are kind of meaningless. Be aware that if you list C, C++ with anything above a beginner level in your portfolio resume, then you will get fun questions in the interview. Okay, that's good feedback. Thank you, Jeremy. So be careful with that one. Hi, it's Arseny from last time. I'm internship learning more on Git. I'm getting paid to learn literally. It's awesome. One to say hi and some love. All right. Well, thanks for sharing, Arseny. Welcome back. Thank you for the love. All right. Experience, General Assembly, software engineer, immersive certificate, collaborated with cohorts, was a leader. Michael. Yeah, but define this. That's actually interesting. How did you lead? What kind of responsibilities did you have? Were you just a leader and like you were the top 10% of your class? And if that's just the case, it's not really leadership. That's but that's still something you could showcase. But like, what does this mean? Break that down a bit. Engineering, create and maintain HMI interfaces using FactoryTalk, wired microcontrollers, programmed, use version control to manage different programs. Okay, so you have potentially some professional, wired microcontrollers, programmed PLCs. Okay, like really fundamental, basic programming stuff. That's something to highlight. That's pretty good, and that's what you were doing the past 2 years before General Assembly. Okay, cool. That's something worth mentioning. References. Okay. I would argue the references aren't going to matter until an employer is like seriously considering you. Once they're asking for references, that's a pretty good sign. You know, they're really leaning on you. So at this stage, this is irrelevant. You're kind of just I don't know. Your resume isn't super long. I would love to see a little bit more detail with some of this. Like continue building portfolio projects. These projects are fairly, I wouldn't say they're fundamental. Like even being able to build an application in React is pretty good. I don't really know where your fundamental or how comfortable you are with JavaScript fundamentals specifically, but continue working on projects. Majority of your time should still be spent working on projects. And you could really start to increase a lot of valuable information on this portfolio, where this a little bit less valuable. And again, this can be valuable, but you can break this down on LinkedIn and your resume. And this is way less valuable at this point. They're not at that process. So again, part of your portfolio is understanding who is viewing your portfolio and where they are in, like, what are they even trying to figure out? What are you trying to solve for them, right? References is a later stage thing in an interview process. So probably irrelevant here. And then contact, cool. Move this to the right. Left or right? Probably right. Looks kind of awkward. Stephen Randall. Okay. Why is this here? You could have like a copyright notice, but or maybe even your website. You could even, I don't know, why'd you put your name down here? Oh, dark mode. Let's go. Stephen Randall. Man, white on black is so hard to read. It's not that hard to read, but like if you're reading paragraph text, I would love. So I was thinking about doing my website, and I really want a dark background, but I do want to include a blog at some point. And man, just white text on a black background it really starts eating at the eyes after a while, and it just makes people their eyes tired, and I don't know, just having to focus a little bit more. Like the contrast, white on black isn't as good of contrast as people think it is. So like if you use white on black, you want to keep it to like headers and a little like couple bulleted lists or something like that, but never have like giant paragraphs of text like you would have with a blog, which you don't do. I'm saying your website's fine, but just a tip for other people. Never have giant paragraphs of white text on a dark background. It's not as readable as you think it is. Cool. I actually like the white version better. It feels cleaner. Yeah, you can't even see these logos anymore. This blue, man, the contrast is just really hard to get down on a very dark background, and I don't think you've gotten that yet. Like the smooth scrolling animation. Cool. That's it for desktop. It's pretty simple, pretty clean. It is kind of bunched together. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I thought when I saw these like everything condensed like this would be really unreadable. I think increasing the size of your headers could go a long way in breaking down the sections, but it's pretty readable overall. Back to the white version. All right, let's do mobile. What do you guys think of it so far? Jeremy Gangrise up. Got multiple Jeremys up in here. Yeah, and if you don't know Jeremy, Jeremy's a hiring manager. I've done a couple podcast episodes with him. Really great dude. Really great dude. Gives a lot of good advice in my chat. So if he's in here, I don't know, maybe he just wants to chill, but usually he's pretty open with questions if you ask him. This alignment is equal, I guess. Can't really see the outline of this. Hamburger menu. Okay, so the padding is consistent. What? Why is there extra padding? Align it with the content. Yeah, bring this over. Bring this over. Align it with this content. About projects. Close. Can you do that? Clicking outside of that should close it, but it does not. I would add that feature in. It's really convenient. It's a pretty common practice. That's interesting. Yeah, this image probably enlarged to fill the entire piece of the content. Might be too big of an image. I actually like that you kept it pretty small. The speech reader. This is a very minimalist website. Skills. I see that you like messing with the animations. Animations can be a lot of fun. I think a lot of people overuse animations, but you don't use, it's because they use them in a very ineffective manner. And they, like, for example, like when you create animations on things that might look like a button, and like when you mouse over it, but then you click it, nothing happens, you're disrupting what people are used to. Animations that are misused like that can hurt you more than help you. It doesn't matter how good they look. But with all this, I mean, your animations are fine. They don't mislead the user into taking an action that they can't take. So I think, I mean, again, you know my feeling about the cards. You can keep them or leave them. I don't think they severely hurt you at all, but I just want you to start thinking about, like, when hiring managers are coming to this website, when HR, they're coming to this website, what do they care about? And a lot of times with a cold application, they're going to get these skills on the resume already, unless this is searchable. But usually if you don't have blog content, it's probably not going to be searchable. Hiring managers aren't going to be coming to you, right? You already gave them that information. Already. Okay. I mean, good spacing overall. I love the white layout. It looks like you don't have the dark mode on mobile. I wonder why that is. A little bit more spacing. Damn. Well, maybe just a tiny bit. Move it over. Well, looks better on mobile. Remember, and so one thing to keep in mind is when you are building your mobile layout, you want to showcase that you are thinking about the user and how they're going to use their website. I think a lot of people will just kind of condense things down a little bit, and you know, a lot of this will start stacking. These applications already stacked on desktop, but these skills did not. And so you appropriately stack the skills. And that's like a really good first step of building a mobile-friendly, responsive website. But you have to think about buttons. You have to think about links. You have to think about how easy it is to fat finger all of these buttons and click the wrong link on accident. And again, any sort of friction that you create by creating an action that is not desired from the user, and they make a mistake or they think it's going to do something else than what it actually does. When you create that friction, I'm telling you, their annoyance for websites, their attention for that, their patience for that is very low. As a human beings and introducing more and more technology that's very much just sucking up all of our attention, like our patience for this kind of stuff is very low. So don't underestimate the kind of friction that creating these tiny little buttons that I'm probably going to click the wrong button on accident. That can create a lot more friction than you think it will. These kind of things matter on mobile, and you need to start thinking about these things from the user perspective. And you'd be surprised at how many aspiring developers won't pull up their website on their phone and just go through everything, right? They put it on their website, they navigate, they toss this up. Oh yeah, I got this tiny little icon. It's super easy to click these. Try it on a phone. It's not as easy, right? So you absolutely want to bring this up on your phone and kind of just look for that stuff. I think it's really important, and it gets neglected among a lot of junior developers. Focus on that kind of stuff. But overall, good contrast. Again, I like this theme. It's pretty minimalist. Pretty good. Any other final comments about this website? It's a pretty minimalist website. The image looks wrong in the About section. Oh yeah, where's your hand, dude? Is that what you mean? Like his hand's under, what is this? Like a jacket? Oh, it's behind him. It looks like he honestly like put his hand down his pants. Like, I'm just gonna say it. I'll be the one to say it. Like, that looks weird. But I didn't even notice that. Cherry's like, that's not what I meant, Don. But that's what I noticed. Out of place on mobile, I mean right size, probably, but somehow the wrong alignment. Nope, that's not what you were talking about at all, Jeremy. Like I said, those are my thoughts. I have no idea. I just do these randomly. I don't plan these. If we get a lot of reviews, I don't mind doing them. We can keep doing them. Because I think... I mean, we don't have a whole lot of requests. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I have 6. And we're going to do one of them. So I guess we have the next 5 for the next stream. But then again, there's sometimes I'll weed out ones that just aren't a good fit for different reasons. So I guess we do have room for others the next time we do it. I don't know. Like if I start getting a bunch of portfolio requests, I'll start doing them more often. But I get enough where it's like I'll randomly do one in the next like couple months, and then I'll just take the next 5 and jump into them. All right. Let's go ahead and load this one up. Let's see. That's good. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Looks like we have some hiragana and katakana. Wonder, he probably lives in Japan. Yep. Japan flag. All right. I don't know. Usually when I see websites like these, it's usually Americans that move to Japan. And so they'll have like English versions and Japanese versions of the website, which I think is kind of cool. All right. That is it. Cool. Let's load it up. We can hear you. All right. Thanks, Joshua. Gotta drop now, but this was fun. See y'all next time. All right. Thanks for joining us, Jeremy. See you next time. All right. So now we only have one Jeremy in the chat. All right. We ready? Let's dive into this one. So, hello. My name is Roland Matheson. Medium, okay. Contract on Remix. Man. More people should consider, because Medium doesn't bring you a new audience, does it? It's something you have to link to, but it doesn't like... Does Medium have like a really robust search engine that, or an algorithm with their search engine that will bring you a new audience if you post on Medium? I don't think that's the case. So... I would recommend a lot of people just start building up authority with their domain. You can do that through the link that you own the domain, but also pushing out content, right? Like put a blog on your website. You'd be surprised at how helpful that can be down the road. Full stack JavaScript developer again. And I'm really starting to be more critical about it. Full stack as an entry level developer tells me that you're spread too thin. What do you really care about? I guess JavaScript, so I'm going to assume you... I don't know. JavaScript can mean a lot of different things. There's so much that's built with JavaScript. But full stack... I don't know. It just makes it seem to a lot of hiring managers that you're not really good with front end or back end, especially at the entry level. Just keep that in mind. Self-taught full stack web developer since April of 2021 currently. Like the thing is, it's fine to put this, but like with your resume, if you are submitting it to a front-end position, you put front-end developer. If you're submitting it to back-end position, well, it depends on what you're going to be building in the back end. You change that title, but people should be aware of how full stack is like really starting to be interpreted almost as a negative thing. You should specialize 100%. Graduated with a bachelor's in political science, but decided to learn software development after wanting to pursue a career as a software engineer while I'm not programming. Traveling, playing card games, listening to 80s Japanese pop hits. Okay. Portfolio version 2. What? Just put this under projects. That's weird. Should I be looking at this portfolio? Like, first of all, this should open up in a new tab. This should never take the user away from your main website, and it should always open up a new tab if it's going away from your main domain. Even if it's a subdomain, I would consider it. But this is an entirely different website. Open it up in a new tab. All this does is make me, what did I just do, right? I'm looking at your portfolio. I want to learn more about you. And, oh, okay, so this is an old version of your website. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, I want to see the new one. Why don't you just link the new one? Oh, what the hell is this? This is way too much text. Think about like HR trying to read this. Like, what the hell is this? All right, this could be a neat little project or supplemental information, but the way you even advertise it, like you are taking the user away from discovering more about like what you can do, what kind of projects you built. This is almost like a little about me. I don't know if you're writing, I didn't even read the content, but it's a very jarring thing for you to take me away at this point in looking at your portfolio. Kept it simple, JavaScript. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of just doing icons like this. If you're just going to do icons, it's kind of irrelevant, in my opinion. Like, I'm going to see the technologies you've worked on in your projects. I would get rid of this section if this is all you're doing with it. Because that can be in your, your resume. Because, yeah, you don't even have a blog. Oh, that's not navigation. Yeah, you don't even have a blog, so there's no real authority that you're building with your domain. Like, hiring managers probably aren't coming to this website and thinking, oh, I never knew about this aspiring developer. You're probably applying, you're probably linking this. So you don't need this. Okay, you don't include the technologies here. Financially intelligent NFTs. Oh, hack it. That's really cool. That's a really cool project. I bet you that's pretty powerful. Especially if it's a group one. Does this? Nope. Again, new tabs, but we gave you that feedback. Okay, so this is okay. So you open a new tab here. What? What? Okay, don't mix that. New tabs. When it sends the user to someplace outside of their domain. What's going on here? This feels buggy. Why is it moving? Stop it. Then it rotates. So you pushed it up. Oh, gotcha. So it's not a GIF initial. That's kind of interesting. It feels a little... It feels a little jarring and kind of amateurish when you... It almost feels like the image is unnecessarily resized. But you're bumping it up so you can show different screenshots. What I would do is just have it like this initially. So then when you do mouse over it, then it starts rotating and it doesn't cram it all in. Roku app, GitHub, cool. Just peek at one of your GitHub projects. Okay, cool. I have no idea how to launch this. You need to put that information in your README. You gotta realize some hiring managers will launch it. Provide instructions for them. Wheel 3, blockchain, a lot of decentralized solutions. I actually like this. This is kind of cool, and this will be attractive to companies that are focused on this thing. A lot of your projects speak to that. That is pretty cool. That's why I think, like, man, I'm telling you, people underestimate this advice, but your projects should showcase what you're interested in. A lot of this is decentralization, and even isn't DAO like a decentralized company, decentralized platform? Like, even decentralized companies are really interesting. I was listening to someone describe how that's created and maintained and controlled, and I don't fully understand it, but I think it's interesting. But yeah, these 3 projects, Will 3, smart contracts, these 3 speak to what you're interested in. This is actually incredibly effective. This is really effective. A lot of your projects focus on what you're interested in. And it's okay. Sometimes like you're just building out a few projects that you're just trying different things, right? And practicing technologies. And then you continue building, right? You can apply there. You might get a job. You never know. But then you continue building and diving into stuff that you really want to build out, right? And you should start thinking about that sooner than later. You might not be able to build these products yet, but I'm telling you, this portfolio, this is a powerful portfolio for hiring managers that are working on stuff like this at the company, or where the company is focused on building tools like this. It's more effective than people realize. Why is this jarring like that? There's no point in doing that. Have this down here. It's like you took an old screenshot. I don't know, maybe it moves when you go to it. I don't know. It's weird. Created by Roland, hosted on Cloudflare and Heroku. I don't know, is this relevant? I guess. I don't know, just extra information. So your animations, how everything comes in, it's way too slow. Way too slow. People don't have that patience. Yep, these are loading in way too slowly. Speed up those animations. Probably should be less than like half of a second, easily. Let's go ahead and check out the Japanese version. Don, I got your email about my portfolio. Okay. Did I review yours, JT, or? I don't know. I don't remember sending one recently, so I don't know if you want me to reply or what, but I don't have any open emails. Yep. Cool. Japanese version of it. Cool. Let's check out mobile. Let's see what Roland did with mobile. These are really jumbled together. Is this relevant here? Why not include these links at the bottom? Ooh. That's possibly a Chrome bug. Okay. Why this text is small? Whoa, this is unreadable. Your mobile version is completely unreadable. All right, let's go to, is it fading in when I come back to it? That should be, no, once it's in, don't fade it out. I don't know why you're doing that. That's I would say that's an example of an animation that makes no sense. Get rid of it altogether. At this point, like I don't even, if you want to fade it in, speed it up, but yeah, don't do that. Hello, split this up. Hello, and then a comma here. Just have this go in the second line, 2 paragraphs. My name is Roland Matheson. This is probably less relevant here. This just seems like you just stacked it right at the top, hoping people are going to click on your different social platform accounts. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think I would include this here. I don't even know. I just want to see your portfolio, your projects, maybe include it in the footer, right? This is way less relevant. Maybe this is where you include these social links. I just like, when I look at this, it just feels like you stacked it on here just to include it and just hope people will click on it. But this tells me you don't really understand the user as well and what they're interested in, because this is no content on it, no blog content. Again, hiring managers probably aren't coming to this randomly through the search engine. They are probably looking at your resume because you submitted a cold application and they click on this portfolio. They want to see what you built. I am the true Jeremy. Just kidding. Other Jeremy is way more. No, you both are legit. I like it. I am the true Jeremy. You asked about mine because I had experience. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, that's yours. Good to know, JT. I do remember that one. Okay, way too much space. What, full stack JavaScript developer? Way too much space here. Increase the text size. What is this? Oh. I just don't believe that's 18. That is so small to read. I'm telling you, you at least used a serif font. Oops, used a serif font for this. The line spacing is fine. The text just needs to increase in size. Man. Yeah, it's just really tiny to read. Skills. Okay, so you're being inconsistent about your spacing between your header and your content. Projects. Okay, you start with the image. I can't even tell, like, is this all, you could almost interpret this as like you didn't finish a section up, and then financially intelligent NFTs, and then you have the image for this here. And it's very easy to start confusing which screenshots are with which description, with which project. You can't even tell that here because you just bunched everything up together. Spacing alone can help solve for that. And even like how you're separating the skills and project section, it just like, you even separate the section, like this image, this very dark image, you have to realize this kind of separates the, refresh. Do you have a little spacing here? I can't tell if it's, hold on. Sometimes I can't tell if it's a DevTools issue or not. There we go. So I just do a refresh like, oh yeah, it's not. You have a, what's this spacing here? You have just a tiny bit of white space. Why? I would actually reduce that amount of space. I think when you extend it all the way across, that almost creates a divider of your divide. Like this is the project section, which is unfilled. And then this is a new section without a title, without a header. It's like people can kind of start piecing this together once they, but like visually, just like a quick glance, I should be able to tell this stuff very, very quickly, and you are making this really hard on me. These buttons are way too small. People are going to fat finger this. Again, increasing the text size of even trying to click that link will be helpful. Yep, a lot of spacing issues for sure. 18.28. Yeah, it's interesting. Specific text size. It's too small for this though. I feel like the titles can be a bit more dynamic or different font. What do you mean by dynamic? Needs a HR between projects or some kind of divider. Yeah. Potentially, or spacing. Spacing alone can do a lot more than people realize. But I think the divider is becoming the image because you're extending it so far across. If you create a little bit more padding on each side, then it's no longer initially perceived as a divider. I think reducing the size of this picture potentially, yeah, reducing the size of it, reducing the width of it will help. And then more spacing between projects, and just see if that works. Then you might need a divider if it doesn't. Again, yeah, I really think you should toss your social media links down here. A little bit more spacing. Yeah, these projects are really crammed together. All right, optimizations. Just, I think it does clear it. I just never pay attention if it does. Cool. Let's bring this out. 800 kilobytes. Whoa, why? Are you kidding me? Why is this website is a really simple website. Why is it 800 kilobytes? That feels excessively large. I would look at how you're bundling that for a really simple website like this. You optimized your images. Yeah, everything else, it's fine. No other red flags, but damn. Yeah, that's a big bundle. I don't even know what that was. I'd have to dig into it, but whew. That's it. Again, continue. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat my feedback, but I think, you know, the contrast is okay. I mean, you can really get away with contrast. Like, this is a little bit more readable, and then everything is so small here. I just don't know why you chose to do that. Anyways, that's my feedback. Good job. Good job, Roland. Hopefully that helps. I'm starting to get more requests from people that I don't even know if you live in Japan. I just assume, because usually people that, again, live in Japan will have this filter like this. But yeah, I think it's interesting that I'm getting more people that are living in Japan coming into my live chat and requesting reviews and stuff. I love it, but we never really had anyone from Japan. I think it's from my Chrysalis review. I bet you that's what it is. It's pretty cool. All right, that is it. That's the end of the portfolio reviews. We went even over an hour and a half. And the first project, always love it when the people that I'm reviewing are in chat. We can kind of just talk things out a little bit. And keep in mind, I'm super critical with all these reviews. I am. I have fun with it. Don't take it personally. A lot of it's just to try to, I think some people cushion the feedback too much. And so I make sure that I'm critical, and I make sure that I really deliver my point as much as I can of improvements that could or should be made. Because I think when people get that cushioned feedback, they don't really think it's a big deal. Nothing really changes. And I want these portfolios to continue to improve, right? And they should continue to improve little by little as you continue working through projects, grow with your web development skills. It should all progressively get better and better. Especially like your portfolio. A lot of people will spend so much time on their portfolio, but what you should focus on is just getting that portfolio up, building projects, and then let's say you built a project, you learned some things from it, and maybe you want to try to make that project look good. You can take what you've learned from that project and just spruce up your portfolio a little bit. You're not rewriting it. You're not doing a whole new portfolio. But I think for people that are unhappy with the way their portfolios look and how they showcase your skills, your projects, your work, I think you can gradually improve it. Use that methodology of like just applying the agile process to constantly do little iterations on your portfolio after each project. Maybe you do it after each big project, right? You go back with your portfolio. I think that can also help. I think it's healthy. I think the agile process and trying to continue to improve is really healthy, but a lot of people will get stuck on their portfolio. It's never good enough. Your portfolio is never like a finished masterpiece. And I think you need to start seeing it that way and making small incremental improvements over time that can kind of force you away from not launching your portfolio, which is going to hurt you way worse. So maybe think about that perspective, that mindset with your portfolio. Hopefully it kind of helps you move along, and like done is good enough initially, and then you gradually improve it over time. I think more people should have that mindset, not with just their portfolio, but their MVPs of their actual projects as well. I think that's a very healthy mindset to have. For mobile versions, should screenshots be a closer view? Maybe. I would say it depends. No, not necessarily. I think it's easier to maybe. I think these images should just give us a quick screenshot of what it looks like, and I think what's relevant is what this application actually does. It depends. I don't know. You could showcase like I think having an overview of what the desktop version looks like, I think it's less stressful on the eyes than trying to interpret what this is saying or what this is saying. I'm almost lost. Okay, yeah. yeah, what this is specifically saying. I think the text is more of a concern than having an overview of the desktop version. I don't think you need to zoom in. If people want to look at the desktop version or the mobile version, they could just click on it from here, or they could just check out the desktop version and type it in one of their browsers on their desktop and look at the desktop version from there. That's a good question. I don't think so for most things. I guess I should have said the titles can be more prettier looking. I would argue the only change that I would make, and maybe this is what you're seeing, is this is serif font, right? You have to, I think, understanding, yeah, this is serif font. I think so, yeah. So again, serif fonts have these extensions on the top and bottom of the letters, and sans serif do not have these extensions. Sans serif is really good for like headers, short text, for paragraph text you're gonna read, that kind of has a lot more context. And basically has multiple lines. You want to then focus on bringing a serif font in with those extensions because it makes it easier to read from line to line, well, from left to right. And then line spacing will give a little bit more spacing between, like the line spacing will make a big difference in being able to read all this as well. But also, here's the thing, and like even just think about like how we grew up in traditional education. We're reading books, especially in English class, and a lot of the paragraphs that we're reading, our eyes are being trained to quickly figure out, okay, I'm here, what do I do now? I'm going to go all the way to the left. And when you have the left text aligned, it becomes much easier to read. And it becomes much easier. It's like a snapping point of your eyes to like latch onto that. Oh, okay, here I am, right? But if all your text is centered, it becomes a little bit more stressful on the eyes to go from here. And then my eyes are going to like look for the next line, but it's like a very, very, very minor detail. But my eye has to work a little bit harder to realize this is the second line because I've been trained my whole life to see like this alignment, and this is where I start. But nope, this got pushed over. Okay, so I move my eyes over just a little bit. Like minor details like that matter, especially when you have several paragraphs of text or like long paragraphs of text. But to answer your question, I think even just bringing a sans serif font, which is much more appropriate for headers like this, could make it look a little bit better. I think it might just look weird because of the extensions on the headers. I think a portfolio website is almost more important than the projects you have psychologically, in the sense that it automatically gives off a sense of your skill level. I don't. I think the projects are more important. And one thing I want you to keep in mind is, so if you have a portfolio, it can actually hurt you if you don't think about some of the things that we're talking about. But I think like I give so much, I would have to really elaborate on that because I give so much feedback. A lot of the feedback that I give, like a lot of you are producing portfolios that you should be. A lot of the feedback that I give, I would consider it extra to just spruce it up a little bit. But I want you to keep in mind, I got my 3 developer positions without a portfolio. Like I kind of finished it. I think I submitted it to a few companies, and then I just like kept working on it. I had this idea like it's not perfect enough, and I stopped submitting it. I just linked my Twitch. I'm like, just watch me code stuff. And I didn't even use my portfolio. But I linked my projects, and that was way more relevant. So I would argue your projects are way more important, but if you have a portfolio that's just really hard to navigate and showcase your skills in your projects, showcase your skills through your projects, that can be a bit jarring, and that can definitely hurt you more than it helps you. So if you're going to be creating a portfolio, my argument would be keep it minimal. It should be a minimalist design, and you can expand past that. It's usually when people try to throw all this extra information on it that starts clouding it, and it starts reducing the effectiveness of what a portfolio is meant to do. And that's to display and showcase what you can do as a developer, what you've done as a developer. So it can hurt you more than it helps you. That's probably a longer conversation, though. It's an interesting one. That's it. We're done. We went over a little bit, but I wanted to at least get 3 projects in because I spent a lot of time on the first two projects, mainly the first one. Hopefully this was helpful. We will do more portfolio reviews in the future. I don't have a date, but what I will do after this live stream, actually probably tomorrow, I'll go through, I'll break it up into chapters. So we did 3 projects that'll be broken up, excuse me, probably into 3 chapters. And man, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll include a link in the comments section. It'll be pinned. It'll have a form link. If you want yours reviewed, submit it there. I go through them. I can't review all of them, but I don't have a lot to review, but sometimes I'll filter certain ones out. And JT, I didn't filter yours out. I just want to focus on these 3 this time. But yeah, hope it helps. Hope you liked it. So this was kind of a random live stream because we didn't release a podcast episode today. And I just want to say thank you, everyone that does support me on Patreon, YouTube. I saw I got someone that just, what do you call it with Patreon? Just subscribed or donated? I don't know. They have a specific word for it. But I haven't updated this list, but I do appreciate the support from all Patrons and YouTube members. You're welcome. I'm glad it's been helpful. All right, we will be live Wednesday, 1:30 Central Time. I'll choose a random topic, not a random, but I'll choose a specific topic. We'll dive into that topic. And then Friday, 1:30 Central Time, we're live again. It's an open style Q&A. We kind of talk about a bunch of random stuff. But if you have questions, if you have blockers, Friday, 1:30 Central Time, that's the time to bring them. All right, thanks everyone. This has been fun. Definitely went off on some rants today. Good luck on all of your projects and happy coding, everyone. Take care.